Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew from Team Respawn, and today I'd like to talk about and discuss my theory of will we ever see a Halo Wars 3? Because Halo Wars 2 has been out for about 4 or 5 months now, and by the way the game ended and the way that Microsoft marketed that game, because they really pushed Halo Wars 2, it doesn't really seem that it would make sense to not get a Halo Wars 3. I think we would get a Halo Wars 3. Deep down in my heart, that's what I think. But, you know, when you really think about it, I'm still on the fence whether we would ever get a Halo Wars 3 or not. I wouldn't actually be surprised if we never got another Halo Wars game. And I'm going to go through some of my points I wrote down here and kind of discuss with you and kind of give you my conclusion on why you probably won't ever see a Halo Wars 3. As much as I'd like to see it, I'm just not sure at this point if it would ever happen. So I'm going to start off why it could happen, why we could get a Halo Wars 3. And firstly, you know, the series kind of needs closure after the Halo Wars 2 ending. If you played the campaign of Halo Wars 2, you're going to know that the ending I thought was just as bad as the Halo 5 ending. And it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me that they would introduce all these new characters like Atriox and Isabel and, you know, get more personal with the Spartan teams like Jerome and everyone else, to really have it end that kind of a way, the way that the game ended, and not really finish that story up. I think it's really disingenuous to all those characters and really to that storyline, and to not really finish it up. And you know, one theory I have of how they could finish this without doing a Halo Wars 3 is somehow pull these guys into Halo 6, but then again, Halo 6 already has about 5,000 characters in it from the ending of Halo 5. So I think the last thing Halo 6 needs is more characters. Like, honestly, I'm not going to get into Halo 5 because I could rant on that. So I'm going to stay clear of that path. But I think it does need closure after the Halo Wars 2 ending. So if they were to make a Halo Wars 3 and continue that storyline, it'd be a direct sequel, I'm sure, from Halo Wars 2. It wouldn't be you know, a 20-year gap or however long it was in between Halo Wars 1 and 2. So, you know, I think the game does need closure. Also, Microsoft probably made a good amount of money from the Blitz Firefight mode, whether this be from scrubs who doesn't know what the buy button means and buys a couple of Blitz packs, or people that when the game started, they're like, oh, I'll buy, you know, $5-10 worth of Blitz packs here and just see what it's all about. Or, you know, people from the season pass, such as myself, or, you know, people who just want to get a hand up in Blitz and they buy a few packs. I think they probably made a decent amount of money. Not enough money to be like, hey, you know, we're making hand over fist like they probably are with the Halo 5 microtransactions. But I'm sure they made a good amount of money from it. And I'm sure, since that's the case, they're going to want to continue that in the next game. Also, this really isn't that good of a point, but Halo Wars has a small but hardcore fan following. You know, such as myself, Breaking the Clutch, Ed Peter, people like that. We're very vocal about Halo Wars, and we love Halo Wars. And I think, you know, the active voicing of the community was kind of the reason why Halo Wars 2 became a thing in general. I wasn't making videos much before the announcement of Halo Wars 2, if memory serves me correctly. I might have not even made Halo Wars videos before Halo Wars 2 was announced. But I mean, on Twitter, I was tweeting to, you know, Phil Spencer and Major Nelson, when are we ever going to get a Halo Wars 2 for years? And, you know, it happened. So I think people really wanting Halo Wars 2 made Halo Wars 2 happen. And if that's the case, then people wanting Halo Wars 3 could probably make Halo Wars 3 happen. Also, 343 and Creative Assembly already have, obviously, Halo Wars 2 running on the Xbox One. So really, they could use the same engine for Halo Wars 3. A lot of times with game development, getting the engine running and the game running is more or less half the battle when you're moving from one platform to the next. And, you know, part of me really thinks that Halo Wars Definitive Edition was kind of a test to see if, or just, you know, an icebreaker for 343 to get the game actually running natively on the Xbox One. Like, okay, so we see how this works here. And then they went ahead and did Halo Wars 2. I have no idea if that's the case. But logically, from me being a computer science grad, that's how I would see it, but I could be totally wrong. But, you know, since they already have the game running on Xbox One on that platform and that framework, they could really just take that same exact engine, make new assets, and, you know, pretty much build a Halo Wars 3 pretty quickly if that's what they decided to do. If we were to jump to another generation, which I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, but if we were to jump another generation, then you probably get a little bit of a slowdown because they would have to migrate to the new hardware. But I digress. Also, Halo Wars kind of helps build the franchise for the Master Chief / the main entry Halo games, because I think a lot of people, if their first Halo game is Halo Wars, which it seems like it kind of was when it got released on Steam, and also the Definitive Edition, when people pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition, they got Halo Wars 1 as well. And a few of them said that was their first Halo game, and they were actually pretty curious about, the grunts and the elites and kind of just the overall history and, I guess, kind of mythology of Halo. And so it helps them kind of bridge the gap between Halo Wars and the main entry Halo games. And I think that kind of gets people also kind of hooked on the franchise, and doesn't keep them waiting the 10 years or whatever it's probably going to be between Halo 5 and 6, because they said it's going to take them a good amount of time to make Halo 6, which they should after Halo 5, but I digress again. So moving on, here's why Halo Wars 3 probably won't happen. Firstly, the game is absolutely dead in the water on PC. I've never really played Halo Wars 2 on PC. I did play it at E3. When I went to E3, I got a chance to play Awakening the Nightmare expansion pack, and it was only running on PC there. And I will tell you, the game is objectively better on PC if you have the hardware that can push it that far, because it was running. I think that's before the 4K thing that's coming later this year for Xbox One X and PC. But it ran really smooth, probably over 60 frames per second. I don't know if that frame rate's locked or not, but if it's not, it's way over 60 FPS. If it's 60 FPS, then it's just buttery smooth. The explosions sounded great. The audio was amazing. You can still use an Xbox One controller on PC, so I thought that was just really cool. I absolutely loved it on PC, but when I looked on Twitter and stuff, you can't even find a match on PC because no one plays it on PC. And I think half the reason why that's true is because it's on the Windows 10 store and not on Steam. So part of me thinks if they were to release Halo Wars 2 on Steam, which I think they will eventually, it'll really help the game out and keep it more active and consistent with the player counts. But it's dead in the water on PC, and I really wish it wasn't, because it's pretty fun on PC. Also, the game didn't sell that well at all. I would consider it a absolute belly flop. It was just atrocious at sales numbers right now. It hasn't even broken 300,000 units sold if VG Charts is correct. And I would kind of consider that to be the case just from the player counts again on PC. If the game sold, 1 million units and everyone has it on both Xbox One and PC, it doesn't really make a lot of sense that no one's playing it on PC. So there's nothing to tell you the active people playing the game right now on Xbox or PC. So you kind of just have to guess. But I don't think the game sold that well at all. I think I just don't know why people didn't buy it. It was marketed pretty well. There was a bundle for it with the Xbox One S. Maybe people just don't like RTS games like they used to. That's just my theory. Also, I don't really think the DLC is bringing in more players, if that's kind of the strategy that 343 is taking for the DLC. Maybe they're like, hey, if we introduce some of these leaders, especially from the previous Halo games like Sergeant Johnson, Sergeant Forge, they're bringing the Arbiter back, a few other things. Maybe they're like, hey, maybe some older Halo fans that really like these characters will come back and try Halo Wars when we release these characters. And if that's what they're doing, that's great. But I don't think that's really bringing in the amount of people that they thought it would. So yeah. Also, Halo Wars Definitive Edition is dead on all platforms, as it should be. That game should never be touched with a 10-foot pole until proper matchmaking is added. I would actually protest against Halo Wars Definitive Edition. Not because it's a bad game, because it's actually a great game. The first Halo Wars is fantastic, especially in Definitive Edition. If you're going to play the campaign, play it on the Definitive Edition, and it's going to be amazing. The reason why I just hate the definitive edition for Halo Wars 1 is that it has no real multiplayer. This custom games hosting crap is just stupid, and it's probably just a cost-cutting measure, and I think it's pathetic. But I think between that and the game not selling well at all, and it's dead on PC, is probably a good indication of why you won't see a Halo Wars 3. And because if it doesn't sell well, they're not going to make money. If they're not making money, they're not going to make another one. It's as simple as that. It's capitalism. So yeah, I don't think you're going to see a Halo Wars 3. And if you do, I hope to see a Halo Wars 3. I just don't think you will. But that's just my opinion. Post your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, we got Halo Wars 2 after 8 years of waiting after Halo Wars 1. And also, the developer of Halo Wars 1 is now gone. Bungie no longer makes Halo games. And we went from the 360 platform to the Xbox One platform. And after all that crap, we still got a Halo Wars 2. So, after all of that, if we could get a Halo Wars 2 after everything that happened in between Halo Wars 1 and 2, we could get a Halo Wars 3. So it's definitely possible. But the best way to send a message is to buy the damn game. So if you haven't bought the damn game yet, go out and, buy the damn game. Usually it's on sale on the Xbox store. And it's cross-buy. If you buy it new or digitally, it's cross-buy or cross-platform thing. What's it called? Xbox Play Anywhere. You get it on PC when you buy it on Xbox and vice versa. Thanks for watching. I'm Andrew from Team Respawn. Post your thoughts in the comments down below. Would you ever think we would see a Halo Wars 3? I'd like to hear your thoughts. That about does it for me. I'll see you in about 100 years.